Anyway, the point of the video is being often the weird person, I guess, in the village or in general. I'm somebody that I do talk to myself and I'll use hand gestures, but when I talk to myself, I don't like talk out loud like this. I pretty much will, I guess, talk like this. I'm just gonna say, I guess, banana. I'm just gonna say banana, bread, muffin, and just so you can kind of get it. I'll just be like, so that's kind of how I talk to myself. And I do this, yes, in public because I've done it since I was a little kid. It's something that I've always done. I don't like to say talking to myself, but it's also, at my age, it's fairly inappropriate for a person to have imaginary friends, so I often call them just invisible friends. That's the same premise, so I will talk to them across when I'm walking. And I do get people looking at me because it is just kind of bizarre. So I'm used to that. So when I see people just kind of looking at me, or if I see somebody approaching, I do, stop it. And yes, it is very difficult to just stop and just keep walking. But usually people are pretty respectful about it. So when they see me doing it and then just stop and just kind of walk as if I'm normal, I guess, they're pretty respectful and they won't acknowledge it and they'll just keep walking themselves. Or if they are seeing me, they're sitting down, they're seeing me walk or whatever, they usually stop paying attention once I realize that they're looking at me. And then they see me just stop and probably know that I'm pretty embarrassed and they don't say anything and they just continue walking. So neither of us are going to have pretty much a second thought about the other person when we're done. So I like the fact that even though people will stare, they're still pretty respectful to not really say much or continue staring. They pretty much will just look and then they'll just kind of look away. Now, this is the only time this has ever happened, and as somebody that what I just had reiterated, I thought they were kind of the weird ones with this. I was walking along the sidewalk, and there was this couple, I don't know how old they were, 30s, 40s, I'm not certain. They were old enough to not do what they were doing. Now, as I said before, people will often kind of look, and then they'll, look away. And then that's about it. But when I was walking, I noticed these people staring at me. It was just a guy and a girl, and they're just staring. And I was like, oh. So I just kind of put everything down and was just walking, hands in my pockets, and just continuing on my day. And whenever I just kind of glance up, they were still staring at me. And so I felt really embarrassed, and I was just kind of walking. And I would just kind of glance. I wouldn't just look right at them, but I would just kind of glance, and they were still staring at me. I turned the curb to the point that I was not really in their vision. They would have to actually turn around and look. And that's what they did. They were just looking at me the entire time So I'm just thinking, I know it's strange to see me talking to myself or talking to my invisible friends, but it's kind of creepy for a grown adult, two grown adults, couple, I don't know, to just stare and follow me with their vision and actually, contort their bodies so they're still just. So I guess part of me was wondering, are they waiting for me to do it again so they can whip out their phone and film me for a TikTok or something? But that was the time that I really got super embarrassed and I felt as though I stood out way too much. But as I've been kind of going throughout my days, this happened probably 2 days ago, I've started to kind of reconsider that maybe I wasn't being weird, as the fact that these people were just staring at me. And I get it. It is odd. What I do is odd. But usually people have kind of the decency to just see me stopping and just walking and then just looking away instead of just constant non-stop staring. So I already feel really inadequate and really weird, and sometimes I feel as though some of the things I do, the quirks, the whatever, feel as though nobody really wants to be around me or to be my friend. And that just kind of solidifies that maybe there is something really, really wrong with me. But I don't know. Sometimes I kind of freak out that, am I going back into a schizophrenic episode? But then when I remember that, I don't think I am. I just think maybe I'm being way too paranoid. And these people are not helping. I don't know. What are you guys' thoughts?